Corner Corner digging up new details now in a story we first broke on Friday. A Fox 4 investigation discovering a relationship between Kurt Clawson, a Republican primary candidate for District 19, and a convicted pedophile living in Utah. There are now more questions surrounding Kurt Clawson's financial disclosure records that he filed in order to run for higher office, which we're going to get to in just a second. But first, Corner Corner's Warren Wright has the very latest on the convicted pedophile, Glenn Borst. The state sexual predator website is now listing Borst as non-compliant. Warren, what does that mean?
Okay, well, Emily, Glenn Borst has vanished. Borst was convicted of repeatedly sodomizing a girl under the age of 13. He's supposed to report his home address to local authorities every 6 months. He was registered as living at this house, 2237 Chestnut Circle, a house owned by Kurt Clawson. Last week, Clawson's campaign manager said their relationship is nothing more than that of a landlord and a renter. There is, however, a legal document that shows Clawson giving Borst power of attorney to handle a business transaction. Ever since our report aired last week, authorities have not been able to locate Borst. In the past decade since his conviction, Borst has been cooperative with the Utah Department of Corrections, but not anymore.
In his case, what he's failed to do is check in with local law enforcement and update his information, which he's required to do every 6 months. He needed to do that by March 31st and has not done so as of yet.
Within 10 hours after I started asking the Clawson campaign questions about Borst's Facebook page, which showed him liking Kurt Clawson, went dark. The Saratoga Springs Police Department is now actively searching for Borst. We have since learned that Kurt Clawson and Glenn Borst knew each other as children.
Okay, so now that's one piece of the story. Now tonight there's even more questions about something more specific, and that is Clawson's financial disclosure form.
That's right. In reviewing his financial disclosure form, why is his Utah property not listed? Why is there no account of any rental income that it supposedly generated? I called the U.S. House of Ethics panel that oversees financial disclosure forms to get some answers. Kurt Clawson purchased this home in Saratoga Springs in 2006 and sold it just 2 days before filing for his run for Congress February 27, 2014. Clawson's campaign manager told me the house was only a rental property. Records also show this house was used to register Clawson's business, Rewired CEO. So here's what the financial disclosure form says you're supposed to do. In Block A, if you have an ownership interest in a privately held business, state the name of the business and the nature of its activities. Nowhere does Clawson list his company, Rewired CEO, even though documents show it listed as an active entity. Also, while Clawson's financial form lists ownership of several properties, it does not list the one in Saratoga Springs. Furthermore, the financial disclosure document doesn't reveal any income earned from it as a rental property. I contacted the U.S. House Ethics Department to review the situation. They're not allowed to go on camera for an interview, but would answer my questions. So even though the home was sold before the end of the reporting period, should it have been listed on the disclosure report? And the same applies to renting that home out. Should that have been disclosed as well? And the answer is yes to both questions. The house, any rental income earned from it, and the name of the company should have all been listed on the financial disclosure. Meanwhile, the former resident, convicted child sexual predator Glenn Borst, is now missing and is classified as non-compliant with local law enforcement. The Clawson campaign reaching out to us this afternoon, calling our story the latest in a round of sleazy attacks. They also included a statement from Borst's ex-wife, Annie, criticizing the media for putting a spotlight on her family's struggles. And one more footnote, we have now learned that Clawson and Glenn Borst were childhood acquaintances, and that Clawson had no contact with Borst again until 2006.